Hi, everyone. I'm DeFi Dad. You're watching episode 27 of Yield TV. Okay, it is November 4th, 2020, and today we'll be interviewing Leighton Cusack from PoolTogether. Leighton, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, currently, Leighton, no one's watching us at the moment, but once they hop on, we'll be much more excited.
Maybe I need to get on. Maybe I need to get on our Twitter account to retweet some tweets.
Yeah. No, it's funny always to me that sometimes when we go live, there will be like, I don't know, 2 people or 5 people or 10 people, but I always get a good chuckle because it shows you a big fat 0 when there's no one. And I'm like, All right, there we go. Ego check. No one gives a shit about what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, man, thanks for joining. So for those who don't know Leighton, who don't know PoolTogether, so PoolTogether was launched about a year ago. It's commonly been referred to as a no-loss lottery, but I think more accurately as a no-loss savings game. And we're going to talk all about that today. They're on version 3 of PoolTogether. There's been a lot of significant updates made to the user experience. And really, like, I honestly, V3, there's so much you guys released that I thought wasn't coming for maybe a longer period of time. So yeah, just excited to show that off. But yeah, Leighton, should we start there and maybe start screen sharing and kind of talk through, you can kind of show us like, what does it look like when you play PoolTogether and how does it actually work?
Yeah, for sure. That sounds super fun. And we love, I think PoolTogether is in particular compared to a lot of other DeFi protocols, it's much more kind of user friendly in terms of like, it's a pretty simple and secure value proposition. So it's a great one for people who are just getting started. So it'll be fun to kind of walk through it all here. So let me pull this up. Are you seeing PoolTogether?
Yep, now we can see it. You're all good to go here.
Okay.
I think one of the things I would challenge anyone who ends up watching this is as you get to know how PoolTogether works, see if you can find a reason to not try PoolTogether. I find that there's really no reason to not try PoolTogether. I have, always thought of it as it's a fun game. It's a way to nudge people towards saving money. And at the end of the day, and we'll talk about this more later, I think about this as something that incentivizes me to save money, but at the same time, I've got this fun upside. So I tossed in money like almost a year ago, and I've basically just left it. I've never won, but it's super fun to watch the prizes grow and to know that like I could potentially win it like a lottery. So on that note, Leighton, can you walk us through what we're looking at here?
Yeah. So this is the homepage of the app. And so just to kind of reiterate what the basic idea here is. The basic idea is that this is a no-loss lottery, aka prize linked savings account. So you deposit money into PoolTogether. And for every dollar you deposit, this is using DAI, but DAI is a stable coin pegged to the US dollar. So for every essentially dollar you deposit, you get a ticket to win this prize that you see here. But even if you don't win, you keep all your money. And that's because the prize is derived from all of the interest that accrues on all of the money in the prize pool. So for example, what you're seeing right now is this week's prize. Currently, it's going to be $3,300, and it's going to be awarded in 2 days, 1 hour, and 43 minutes. So there's a prize awarded every week, and this is the countdown to the prize. So so that's sort of the basic idea, is like you can deposit money, you have a chance to win every week. It just rolls over. So when you deposit money, you continue to have a chance to win every week until you withdraw. And when you withdraw, you get 100% of your money back. So you don't lose anything, but you have a chance to win. And that's the core idea. So I think one thing with the new V3, if you're already familiar with PoolTogether V2, one thing that's new with the V3, which has really caught on with the community, is this idea of people can add prizes, can add essentially additional prizes. So if you look at the pool detail here, you see this top line of the prize is $3,300. Now, $1,300 of that is coming from the interest in the pool, but $2,000 of that is actually coming from all these other DeFi tokens that people have just added to the prize pool, which is really cool. Like,
yeah. And these are people to specify or clarify. They're donating it. There's no sort of return on it, I guess, except maybe some like unintentional marketing.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just sort of a marketing thing. Like, yeah, they're just donating it. So so like whoever is going to win this week's prize, they're going to win all these different tokens. And there's even some things in here like this silk. Like this is actually represents like a physical object. It's like a unisex type of thing where you can redeem this token to get a limited edition silk print. So there's a whole bunch of different, and you have, wrapped Bitcoin here, the REN BTC and the TBTC. So whoever wins this week's prize is going to win Bitcoin. They're going to win sushi swap tokens, Uniswap tokens, all sorts of stuff.
So cool. Yeah. And did you guys just rename this the loot box? Like, I'm trying to remember if I saw this a week ago.
Yeah, we were calling it external prizes or bonus. I think we were calling it bonus prizes, but we felt like it really kind of the loot box concept.
It's really good. It makes total sense to me. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that totally, like, it resonates. I think the language works really well.
Yeah. And so anyone can technically, this is permissionless, right? So that's what we say a lot in like DeFi. There's decentralized, there's permissionless and permissionless. So anyone can add to this loot box by just sending either ERC20 tokens or 721 tokens to this address.
And how does Leighton, when I look at that on the left-hand side, it's nice because it like tells you like this is from Compound or from Uniswap. Is that telling us that Uniswap donated the 400 uni, or just telling us that it's the Uniswap uni token?
Yeah, definitely just the Uniswap uni token. So some of these tokens are like, for example, I just happened to know this week that the sushi token, because the team DM'd us, so I know for sure they sent that. But a lot of these tokens, like, I don't know who sent this curve. I don't know who sent the TBTC, the REN BTC, the wrapped Nexus Mutual. Like, I don't know who did that. So we're not trying to infer that these protocols are endorsing this. We're simply listing what the tokens are.
Nope, that makes sense. Because that's something else. I would be curious if in the future, if someone could specify somehow, if it could be shared that it was from a specific team or person, without, I guess, like the default is maybe to think more from like a privacy standpoint, not share that information. But I think that would be really interesting. It's kind of like, it's like marketing, you're putting up like the uni token because you want people to learn about it.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it is great marketing for these projects. So that's obviously how the whole prize is made up. And there's some more info on this page. I won't go into the details of it, but you can see like right now there's almost 1,800 people who have deposited into the pool. Okay. There's about 1 million tickets that have been issued from people depositing. And so that's sort of the summary.
Does that cover everyone that was in V2? Like I was curious, like how many people or wallets you're still waiting on to migrate from V2?
There's definitely still a lot in V2. So I think we have this migration contract. I think there's only been about 600 people that have migrated from V2. Mm-hmm. So most of these people, so this 1,800, this is all people who have joined since we launched, which was about 12 days ago. So in the last 12 days, 1,800 people have unique wallets have joined. And of that 1,800, about 600 of those were people who upgraded. The other 1,200 were new.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So, wow, 1,200 new users. I feel like now is a time too not only do you want everyone to migrate, but you're migrating to what do I want to say, like a less diluted game. You have less people playing, but yet the prizes are large right now. I mean, these are definitely as large as I've ever seen on PoolTogether.
Oh yeah, I mean, last week's prize was almost $9,000.
Wow.
This week's prize is $3,000 so far.
Right? That's a record.
What's that?
9,000.
Yeah, that was a record. $9,000, and the person who won that only had 246 tickets, and they won a $9,000 prize. That person, similar to you, they had been in PoolTogether from V1, and so it was kind of cool to see that they won.
Yeah, that's it. I've always thought of it as just like, this is like savings that I can, if I really desperately needed it, I could pull it out. But it's money that I thought about, like, what is the yield that I would be earning from this amount of money? And I was like, that's insignificant to me. I'll just leave it in PoolTogether. The upside on PoolTogether is huge. I mean, my thinking is that eventually these prizes are going to get to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Like I have zero doubt that we'll see that in light of what just happened with like the whole summer and the explosion of DeFi.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And the really cool thing with the new V3 is even if you don't win, you're still earn the deposit rewards. So you essentially are earning interest on your deposit. So it's kind of best of both worlds. And we'll talk about that.
Right. That's right. Talk me through that, because that's been a change from V2. So you're still earning some interest, but then you have, as of now, like you have some money that's been set aside that's contributing to the prize weekly.
Right. So, okay. So what you brought up is like was a common thing that people requested, right? They're like, I want to just keep money in there, but I want to have some sort of like small return. Maybe it's not the highest as I could possibly get, but I do want to have something that, like, even if I don't win the prize, if a year later I come back, I have something. And so what we built into the V3 is deposit rewards. And deposit rewards are it's basically a way to reward people for holding deposits in the pool. And right now it's set up where there's $1,000 a week that are distributed evenly to all ticket holders as deposit rewards. So like, let's say you hold half of all tickets in existence, you would earn $500 in a week, because you would have, that $1,000 you would own is split among all the ticket holders. So if you look at the math of it, with a pool size of $1 million, $1,000 a week in deposit rewards equates to about a 5.5% annualized interest rate. So basically, everyone right now who's in PoolTogether is earning 5.5% APR on their tickets that they hold, as well as having the chance to win the weekly prize.
Oh, that's cool. That's really You killed the the criticism, or like the feedback that someone would give as to like why not just put my money into Compound and I can earn 5% myself. Well, now if you're earning 5% here, plus you have this sort of unlimited upside, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the other thing too is, the PoolTogether, I think, makes a lot of sense for people who have like $10,000 or less, right?
Yes.
Because if you have $1 million, then earning 5%, over the course of a year, that's $50,000. That's a lot of money. But if you have like $1,000 and you're earning 5%, that still is only $50 a year, which really isn't going to probably move the needle for you financially. But having 52 chances to win, $3,000 a year is a much more compelling value proposition.
Yeah, that's a good way to frame it up. The 52 chances with weekly prizes. Can you talk to me about with these pools? I know there's somewhere here that I can suggest like a strategy. So like, what's the thinking there? Is PoolTogether gonna take advantage of like a Y vault in the future, or I don't know, maybe like we use like a rocket pool to earn money?
Right. Yeah. So you'll see here, it shows you what the yield source for the pool is. And, the reason that's there is because it is possible to create different prize pools with different yield sources. The two yield sources we currently already have support for are Compound Finance and Y-Earn vaults. Those are the two. Oh, nice. But it's quite simple for us to add more yield sources. So we've been working on adding Aave, adding, and we could even look at more kind of exotic ones. So there are different yield sources. I mean, to the end user, they don't necessarily really care what the yield source is. I think they just care like how big the prize is, but the yield source is related to how big the prize is. And so, that is one of the major upgrades.
I'd imagine like everyone wants a bigger prize, but then, you have to remind them, hey, like we need to be able to reliably pull this money back, because that's the idea here is you can, if I buy 100 tickets on PoolTogether, I can refund them at any point. I think for the most part, can I still do that? Can I still refund at any point, or is there any like penalty for pulling out in the middle of like a week?
Well, okay. So let's talk about that. That's actually a great thing to talk about because this is a big difference between V2 and V3. So with V2, when you deposited, you did not instantly get tickets. So like if you deposited right now, you would not have a chance to win this prize. You wouldn't get tickets.
Okay.
Your tickets would be minted when that current prize was awarded and you'd be eligible to win the next prize.
That's right.
Yep. That's how V2 worked. And that was not ideal for users because for one, it's just really annoying. Like if you're depositing, you want to get your tickets right away. You want to see those tokens. You want to see your balance update. And you also want to have a chance to win the prize because that's fun. And it's also not ideal for developers because it makes it really hard to build on top of the platform. But the reason we did it that way was to keep it fair, right? To prevent someone from depositing right before a prize and withdrawing right after. So with V3, what we wanted to do is keep it lossless, you're able to withdraw your deposit at any time, keep it fair, and also give you the ability to get tickets as soon as you deposit. Mm-hmm. And so the way we achieve that is through a time decay withdrawal fee that goes to the prize. So basically, when you deposit, trying to think the simplest way to say this. The simplest way to say this is when you deposit, it starts essentially a timer on your tickets. And after your tickets have been deposited for 10 days, you can then withdraw them you can withdraw them and get 100% back. If you try and withdraw in less than 10 days, there's an early withdrawal fee that goes to the prize that starts at 1% of your deposit and goes down to 0% over 10 days. So like if you withdrew after 5 days, it would be 0.5%. If you withdrew after 8 days, it would be 0.2%. Like that's how it works.
So if I were to, let's say if I migrated 100 tickets from V2 to V3, will it take up to 10 days for it to show that I have 100 tickets? Like, will it actually, I guess, will I see anything missing, or will it just, I guess, like, will it look normal to me and I will only incur that withdrawal fee if I actually try to withdraw from V3?
It's only if you try to withdraw early. So, so going back to the stats, we looked at the numbers and basically 90% of people who deposit in PoolTogether have their deposit for more than 2 weeks. And so really what this is all about is it's just trying to make sure the whales don't come in right before the prize and withdraw right after. That's what we're trying to prevent against. Makes sense. 90% of people, they are like you. They just put the deposit in and they keep it in forever. And when you come and withdraw it, you can just get it out. But I think let's just run through the process real quick. I think that'll be the easiest way.
Let's do that.
Let's say I want to join the pool. I show this get tickets screen. I guess I only have 76 DAI in this wallet right here. So I'll only get 50 tickets. Now, as soon as you update your tickets right there at the bottom, it will show you what your odds are going to be to win. And I think, so if I got one ticket, I would have a 1 in 10,000 chance of winning. I'm going to get 50 tickets and those are my odds. If you do need to get more crypto, you can do that here that'll push out to Wire. Cool. So hit continue. Confirm my deposit. Can you see my MetaMask on the screen? I'm not sure if that's coming out.
But that's okay. I can see what's in front of me here. Just reminder to everyone, like this would prompt you with a MetaMask transaction. And when you do this, Leighton, it's 2, right? 1 to give permission to spend my DAI, and then a second one to actually deposit the DAI.
Correct. And the first time you do it, there's 2. 1 is going to be a super cheap transaction to just give permission. And then the second one actually deposits, and that will be more expensive. I've already deposited on this account, so you're not going to see that. You're just going to see me get my tickets. And so one thing I do want to say about depositing and costs, right? Because we've had a lot of discussion about costs. Depositing into PoolTogether will cost you anything from like $4 in fees to $20. And the difference is just how busy the Ethereum network is at the time you're trying to deposit. And so if it's not very busy, it will be like $4 or less. Like if gas is in like the 15 to 20 range, 15 to 25 range. And if it's much busier, if it's like 50 to 100, then you're looking at it costing, $10 to $15 to deposit.
When I buy a PoolTogether ticket, is my DAI being like wrapped into C DAI, or is like what's actually happening under the hood? Are we minting PoolTogether V3 tickets? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. So my transaction just confirmed. So you'll see I have 50 tickets right away, and I'm eligible to win this prize that's coming up in 2 days, 1 hour.
Cool.
And I can view my account right away. So I'll answer that question, but let's view the account real quick.
And you're fully eligible to win that next prize. I mean, it's what you were describing earlier. If I go and I buy a ticket, I'm eligible immediately. The only drawback is if I were to try and go withdraw this before the 10-day waiting period, then I would incur some fraction of 1%, and that would go back into the prize pool. So, I mean, really, you could buy this at 2:59 p.m. Eastern on a Friday. Dude, that's cool. I'm interested to see how that all plays out. I like that I like that there's not a penalty to play, because I think that we want people to play, but it's more about stopping the bad behavior of pulling out 10 days early.
Right, exactly. Because basically think of it this way, right? There's a $3,000 prize. So a whale could come and deposit $1 million right before the prize, and they would have a 50% chance to win. But if they tried to withdraw right away, they would have to pay a $10,000 early fee, which would go to the prize. So they'd have to pay $10,000 to the next prize, because that would be 1%, 1% of a million.
Right,
So let me just demonstrate this for you real quick, because so I already had 100 tickets. In case you're wondering why this says 150, I already had 100 tickets on this account, so that's why it says 150. But let's say I just bought 50 tickets, right? So let's say I want to immediately withdraw them. I come here, I put in 50, hit continue, and see it's saying that it's going to take 50 cents from my deposit. So I'm going to get $49.50 back, because that's 1% of 50. Yep. Now, if I came back here in 10 minutes, it would say, you're going to get 4,951. This number, every minute that you're in the pool, it goes down.
Cool.
Until it hits 0 after 10 days.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. It's part of the reason, I think synthetics was a good example of I like the way they incentivize stakers to continue to earn the reward versus penalizing them with a liquidation. Anyways, keep going, Leighton.
Yeah, so a couple other things to highlight here. So I have 150 tickets. So down here, you're going to see this update, and it updates every few seconds. This is my rewards that I'm earning. So I mentioned that functionally at 5%. So you can see there's $1,000 in weekly deposit rewards, $1,000 in weekly referral rewards. And so these will accrue, the deposit rewards will accrue in real time. So if we wait a little bit of time, we should see this number update. And that's essentially that APR that you're earning. Additional to that, you can also earn rewards by referring people. So you can copy this address, which is unique to you. And if people join using that address, then you'll get a part of these weekly referral rewards, which are currently $1,000 as well.
Very cool. I had missed that. I have some claimable rewards on my own PoolTogether account as well. So I totally missed that before. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. So that's the thing is we want you to come back, right? If you've been in for a year, you want to have something, I think. It's kind of a bummer if you just had the chance to win it, but you didn't win at all. And so that's what the deposit rewards are good for. And so then and then also have the referral link here. So these are my tickets. I now have 150 tickets. I'm eligible to win this week. I'll withdraw these tickets because I don't want to win. But the other thing I want to show people too, real quick, is if you go to this tickets tab here, what you'll see here, if you have tickets in V2, you'll see a tab here that looks like this that says migrate to V3, and it'll have how many tickets you have in V2, and you can hit this button to just migrate them automatically into V3.
Awesome. Yeah. I use that feature. It's very easy. It's a single transaction if anyone hasn't tried it yet. And I think the only thing to be conscious of is, if gas prices are lower, it's a good time to do it, just because, like you said, you're depending on what the Ethereum network congestion looks like, and that can save you some money.
Yeah, migrating, again, it's similar to depositing. It will cost you $4 to $5 when gas costs are low. If gas costs are high, it can cost $15 to $20. So it definitely is worth. It's definitely worth waiting. And the one thing to say on that too is, there's two things that define how expensive a transaction is. One is how busy the network is, but the other is how complicated the transaction is. And depositing it into PoolTogether is, relatively speaking, somewhat complicated, because when you deposit into PoolTogether, the money has to go into the yield source, which generates a yield that creates a prize. And then also the eligibility structure, which enables the protocol to pick a winner randomly, has to be updated so that you're eligible to win that prize. And so that's why the cheapest possible thing to do on Ethereum is like send ETH from one wallet to another.
Right,
and so that's why like maybe we get a lot of questions where it's like, well, why does it only cost $2 to deposit into Compound, but it costs $3 to deposit into PoolTogether? And that's because PoolTogether is a little bit more complicated than Compound. It's a lot less complicated than other things too, like compared to Curve or compared to like a Y-Earn or something like that. It's much less complicated, but that's just something on gas.
So when I deposit my DAI or buy a ticket, I am depositing it into the yield source, which at the moment is Compound. That actually could become more expensive with new pools then. Like if you were to incorporate like a Y-Earn, so that could become more costly. The other thing was updating the eligibility structure, infrastructure, whatever you called it. Is there also like a minting of the PoolTogether tickets? Like I've never understood, like, are we minting PoolTogether tickets or is there like a certain amount of them that already exists and I'm just being allocated a portion of it?
No, you're being minted. Yeah. So I can't show you my MetaMask, but well, actually, let me show you this too. This is a good little trick. You're being minted them. And if you go back to this pool detail page at the bottom, you'll see this add PC DAI to MetaMask. And if you click that button, it will add it. So you automatically will see it in MetaMask. So you are being minted the PC DAI token, which represents your tickets. And you can transfer those tokens. You can, deposit them in other places. There's all sorts of things you can do with them. So that's why that's useful.
Wow. I'm curious, Leighton, can you talk to me about like what inspires the design for PoolTogether? Because I think that you all could have like very easily just sat back and said, hey, like, we got this cool idea and everybody just keep shoving money in this thing. And hopefully you win, maybe you don't. But like, I feel like I learn more about DeFi application design every time I look at PoolTogether. And there's just so much here that's different from V2. And I've definitely recognized, I think that there's lessons from what you guys design that others are pulling from. Maybe you're not aware of it, but like I even noticed like at the bottom there, they're revoking the DAI allowance. I think that's really clever to make that available. Adding the PoolTogether DAI to MetaMask, that's really helpful. Anyways, where do you guys draw inspiration from, and what are you thinking about in terms of the way that you design PoolTogether for your users?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think first off, it's just good people working on it. So Chuck, who does all of the front end development and some of the design, and then Lily, who's on our team, who leads all the design. They, obviously get all the credit for this. So that's good. So that's definitely like the first thing I would say, very worth noting. The second thing I would say is, we definitely are trying to design in a modular way that's extensible and can accommodate for growth. And so what I mean by that is like, if you look at this, you can very clearly see this is designed to have more than one pool, right? It would make a lot of sense that it'd be another pool down here, another pool down here.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
You can have more pools. And even here, if you look at the detail, the pool detail page, the one we were just looking at, you can see that this is a very modular design too, where it's very simple to add in like a new little box here that shows like how many players or what the yield source is. Like all this stuff is designed in a way that makes it hopefully very modular. And also, again, like, we want it to be very secure, permissionless, and user-friendly. And so that's what you see here is like, this is somewhat of a power user thing, like adding it to MetaMask, revoking DAI allowance, but we want to make those actions like really simple. Also, this is kind of cool in terms of permissionless managed pool. Technically, anyone can manage the prize pool. Like anyone can award the prize, right? It's a permissionless system. So like even if the whole PoolTogether core team all dies, the prize pool will just keep running because people, assuming someone comes and awards it. So that's cool. A couple other power users things I'll show you real quick too is we do have themes. So we do have the light mode if you like that. And then also languages up here. We definitely do a lot of work on languages. So right now we have Spanish, French, Chinese, and Korean, and there'll be more languages coming soon.
Wow. What communities are you finding, what non-English communities are you finding are most interested in using PoolTogether?
It definitely, we have a lot of traction in South America. We have some really good community representatives who are based in South America and work really hard to build that community and provide support. So a lot there. And then China is also really big. We get like 25% of our traffic is from China. We have more traffic from China than the United States. Wow. So, and I think a lot of it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where, you know, if you don't have a ton of crypto assets, if you only have like $100 to $1,000 or something like that, it's much more exciting to sort of like have a chance to win $3,000 than to earn, even if you're earning 10% APR, that's only $10 a year. So I think that's part of why, where it appeals to markets where crypto adoption is less and people have less total kind of crypto assets.
That's so interesting. I know that in terms of Zapper, we're aware that we're seeing more growth in terms of our users from China at the moment.
Interesting.
And, exciting. Yeah, it feels like, I don't know. Actually, this is me just being an armchair expert on it, but I feel like from my interviews with like Dodo and Arthur 0x and just talking with friends that live in China, like it feels like the crypto community in China is I mean, they were keeping up clearly with what was going on in DeFi over the summer, but there seems to be some like really sustained interest that's growing there. I'm just not sure where the participation is, but I've heard a lot about interest in derivatives. Derivatives seems to be like a space that's like, it's got a lot of attention because I think that also like incorporates leverage and just it may be more efficient with your capital. But this to me it's a game that I wonder if you can expand upon the community in South America. Like, what are you hearing from users or your community builders in South America? Like, why are people so interested? Is this a larger sum of money, to some that are playing versus like some kid that lives in San Francisco who's got a DeFi portfolio and doesn't really care?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, is a larger sum of money. I think the other thing though is it's a product that is very clearly better than your existing alternatives in the real world, right? And so there are a lot of people who play the normal lottery, and they're like, when they see this, they're like, why would I want to play the lottery when I could just still have a chance to win, actually a much better chance to win, and keep all my money? And so I think there's also, we definitely get a lot of traction with people who like to play games that have an element of chance in them. And obviously PoolTogether is not a lottery because you don't risk your principal, but what it has in common with a lottery is it has an element of chance and a chance to win like a prize that's going to be a meaningful amount of money. And so I think that's the other big factor is that and then also, I guess maybe this is a different way of saying the same thing, but the no loss, this idea of no loss, because I do think particularly with some of these communities that maybe in like South America or in Asia, where maybe they've been burned by some projects in like kind of the DeFi hype of kind of going all in on something and like losing a lot of money. It is really nice to have something that's refreshing. It's like, I have a chance to win. I don't need to worry about losing it. And like, I can just kind of like set it. I think that's also a big appeal.
Yeah. And you guys have a track record that's long enough now. I think a year is enough to say that clearly this isn't a team that's going to disappear overnight. And you've also put in you have intentionally designed the system to survive, even if you all were to disappear over Right. Does that mean though, is PoolTogether hosted on IPFS as well, or like will it be hosted on an IPFS? Like I use the one that's I think most common at you go to pooltogether.com and it's user friendly to just hop into a readable domain like that. But anyways, are you all thinking about how to host it on an IPFS?
Yeah, we should definitely do that. It's not right now. There obviously are other spots to use the contracts if the pool to get down. Like the simplest one being Etherscan. Like you can still go and use and interact with the contract, so you can deposit, you can withdraw, you can award a prize, etc. But having it on IPFS would be nice. But we certainly anticipate over time there'll be more and more places where you can interact with the contracts without needing to go to pooltogether.com. Like hopefully even Zapper. That would be an example of one.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we need to be able to enable that in the future. Like it feels like something that should just be, the click of a button in a Zapper dashboard. Leighton, talk to me about like governance. Like that is something that you were just telling me before we got started. So Friday's the first governance vote, or is it like the first governance call? How is that going to work in terms of governance?
Yeah, so we haven't talked about this yet. So this is a Yield TV exclusive, but Friday will be the first governance vote. And so, in terms of governance and decentralization, we're taking what's called the progressive decentralization model, where we're moving to a fully decentralized model, but in a progressive way as the community gets stronger and is able to take over more control. Right. And so with that in mind, we have a sort of a unique approach. And so when you come on Friday, you'll see a new tab here. There's going to be pools, account, and there'll be another tab, which is vote. And you can go, anyone who holds any PoolTogether tickets can go and vote on whatever votes are up to change the protocol. And the vote this week will be a change that a lot of community members have asked for, which is to increase the number of weekly winners. So instead of just having one winner, we could have, 5 or 10 winners who are splitting this prize, or it could be 2 or 3. That's what the vote's going to be about. How many weekly winners should this prize pool have? And that's something that the community has had, voiced a desire to do. And so we're, creating this vote so that it can be, so that it can be articulated. Their desire can be articulated. But I think what's really cool about this vote is that it will be anyone who holds tickets will get one vote, which means that unlike most other DeFi protocols where your vote is dependent on kind of like how much money you have essentially, you won't be able to. There will even if you have 10,000 tickets, you'll still only have one vote for this vote. So we're really curious to see how that goes, if people care, those types of things. And that's kind of like the next big step for us in decentralization.
Once that goes live, how long is the voting period, or how long will I have to put in my vote?
It will be 7 days. And we're using Snapshot for this too. So it will be gasless, which is another thing. So you won't have to pay any gas to vote.
Oh, that's awesome. I was about to ask that. Like, I'm not sure if I'm just ignorant to this, but I was like, why isn't everyone just using Snapshot? Because it's so easy to use and it's gasless. And I guess like, what is the purpose then of forcing people to pay gas? Like it feels like something that just should be adopted across the board. But I guess how did you guys decide to use Snapshot? And did you think about like, are there some pros or cons to using Snapshot versus forcing everyone to vote with gas?
No, I mean, I think we're using it. I think most people probably would be using Snapshot if Snapshot had been around when, the thing is the technology is changing so fast and improving so fast. We're able to utilize it because we're doing this now. If we had been doing this 3 months ago, Snapshot didn't exist. And so we would have had to do it a different way. I think Snapshot is a good system. You do at some point have to bridge the voting to actually like implementing the on-chain change. And right now that's not there. So this vote, when it completes, it's not like the new number of winners is going to instantly update, right? We don't have that connector done yet. So that goes back to like the progressive decentralization idea. So maybe that's like the con, but the pro is that it's very lightweight, very easy to implement. It's gasless. And so it gives us a chance to test this governance. And who knows? Maybe no one cares, right? Maybe no one wants to vote, and no one even cares how many winners it has, and that's a sign for us that like, okay, we need to work on the value of governance before moving further.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop my screen share too, unless you guys
remove it here. Yeah, governance is hard. You know, it's we're the day after the U.S. election, and they're counting votes, and you know, it's. I mean, for most of my life, I feel like it's been a trend that many people don't vote. You know, there's a lot of people that do vote, but it's always been a challenge of like, how do you get people to participate, and then how do you get people to stay active, you know, even in the greater scheme of politics, and following all the issues, and are their representatives actually representing their views? So when you translate that to crypto, it's been interesting to watch all of these tokenized communities, and you know, we're still really small, but I mean, I will say like there's definitely some empowerment behind having like more money involved, because I think like at the end of the day, like a lot of protocols, there's a lot of money at stake in whether you vote or not. What do you think is one of the scariest things about building a DeFi project, or whatever you want to classify PoolTogether as? I think of you guys as DeFi plus gaming, and at the end of the day, you're a permissionless application built on Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, I think the scariest thing is definitely just like the risks of around security, and the risks of wanting to make sure that no one who uses PoolTogether ever ends up with, you know, less than they had before. Like we're trying to build a lossless protocol, and we want it to be lossless. And so, but obviously, when you're building with smart contracts that are open source, that are decentralized, that are non-upgradable, there's risk associated with that. And that's why we have professional third-party auditors, and that's why we spend a lot of time mitigating those risks, but you can't bring those risks to zero. And I think that's, you know, my worst nightmare would be you know, waking up and being like, oh, you know, a bunch of people just lost money because somehow related to something that we were working on.
Yeah, what's the name of the white hat hacker that is always at the center of every like bug? The joke was that like
Sam. I think
Sam. Yeah. The joke is that if you get like a direct message from him, you up. Like that's not a good thing.
Bad. Yeah. We have not had any of those. That's great. Yeah. We definitely, like I said, we invest a lot of money in security. We have some really good auditors, but you can't. It's just a risk. It's never a zero risk.
Leighton, going back to like inspiration for design and PoolTogether, but thinking more just about PoolTogether more holistically, I guess, what lessons have you all taken from peers that are building in the DeFi space or building applications on Ethereum? Like what really stuck out for you in terms of what you incorporated into the V3 upgrades?
Yeah. Well, definitely the whole kind of the mechanisms around the referral rewards, like that referral rewards was sort of something we saw. What's the name of the protocol? They haven't really officially launched yet. I can't remember, but we kind of took that idea from them, and then the whole deposit rewards, that's modeled very similar to the way that comp is distributed if you deposit into the compound protocol. So we definitely took inspiration from that for sure. We also, you know, this is maybe a fairly technical thing, but it's a really good security architecture where you have like the contract that holds users' funds, and that contract's non-upgradable and can't be changed. And then you have other contracts that interact with it that are upgradable. And so we adopted that modular architecture for the smart contracts, which is really awesome, because what that means is like when you deposit into PoolTogether, no one can touch those funds. We can't. No one can. There's no keys for those funds. But there's the prize strategy, which is a separate contract that is upgradable, which is what lets us, you know, change out the number of winners and do things like that. And so I think that architecture was, I don't know if inspired by anyone specifically, but that's definitely a change. And then, you know, I think the other thing is just learning the governance, you know, what's working well in terms of, you know, I think the heart behind governance is amazing, right? It's like, let's make this system more, let's distribute ownership, let's distribute, you know, decision making. That's awesome. But like in practice, a lot of times it doesn't end up happening or really working. And so I think we're trying to learn a lot from that too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been so much that happened from April, May through the summer that brought us to where we are now. And I thought it was really, I don't know if it was coincidental or not, but I thought it was cool that you all just happened to launch this V3 because there's so much there to pull from. And I know, like, just thinking about our product at Zapper, I mean, there's so much that we've learned watching all the cool stuff that's been built, and it's exciting. It feels like, I mean, it feels like we're on the precipice of like a bigger explosion. I think
For sure.
The growth in total value locked over the last year was exciting to watch, and we're in a great place with where it's sort of consolidating. I mean, we're still like above 10 billion, I think, in total value locked, but I think many will be surprised how much higher, we can go.
Yeah.
I think 100 billion in total value locked is around the corner. And these, even the numbers with PoolTogether, I remember looking at the amount of money that was earning that prize. I mean, at one point it was 100,000, and then it's 200, and then 300,000, and now you set the bar higher and higher, and then people measure from that all-time high.
Yeah.
So $9,000 prize, while that was, to me, it was insane to look at that and think, holy cow, that's a significant amount of money, no matter where you live in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one day, when we hit 100,000, I'll be
cool.
laughing at, I'll be laughing at some of the friends and family. I've told a lot of people who know nothing about Ethereum, I'm like, you got to try this. It's a lottery, but you can't lose. You basically save your money and you try to win this crazy prize. But Leighton, anything else that you think folks should know about PoolTogether? I think we've covered basically everything here today, but just anything else that they should keep their eye on or be looking forward to coming from PoolTogether? The governance, governance to come is, I think, the most significant announcement. We'll make sure we edit that into the highlights and try to get that to people.
Well, I think, the one thing I would always say is, like, obviously do your own research, and the best place to do your research on PoolTogether would be to start, if you like, on our homepage, there's this risk and security and risk section. And if you hit the link there, it will take you to our docs.pooltogether.com. And there's a section on risk, there's a section on our audits, there's a section on security. So there's 3 different sections there. So just take those time to read those and understand what risk you're taking on when you use the protocol. So that's definitely something I would say. On the more exciting things, I think, yes, the governance is going to be awesome. We're really excited about that. And then it's just going to basically just be more pools, more prizes, new yield sources. We're going to be launching, more of those. And so look for those. And then, a little bit longer term, it's going to be more on the scalability side, which will take care of the gas fees.
Leighton, can you all launch a new pool without a governance vote, or is now the trend going to be that you have to bring that up as a vote? Like, I'm wondering where the line is there, or an answer could just be, we don't know where the line is. We're just about to, launch our own governance.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's not a hard line. We're very reactive to the community, though. And so we definitely will do another, assuming this vote goes well, the next one would be around which pool should we launch? Should we launch a Tether one, a Wrap Bitcoin one, a Uniswap one? Like, we could use all sorts of different interesting assets, which would be fun. And so we'll probably do that. Technically, because we're using this progressive decentralization at this time, technically the core team still has the ability to do that. But in the future, that will be turned over to governance. And technically, actually, anyone can launch their own prize pool. They can go to builder.pooltogether.com, and there's an interface, and you can create your own prize pool. And that's open for anyone.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that is something I could envision one day, that if you take the PoolTogether mechanism, you can apply it to charities and turn more of like their donations into like a game. And I've talked to you before about like potentially like a church using this. A church could really pull together more funds, but then interestingly, they could return those funds, or maybe return a fraction of it, depending on how much people want to donate. Man, that's so exciting to watch all of this. Well, just a reminder to everyone then, you can follow Leighton here on Twitter. Make sure you follow Pool Together on Twitter as well. But more importantly, go try and play Pool Together. That's not financial advice. You should try it. It's one DAI. It's a stable coin. You know, in terms of the gas, I think it's relatively inexpensive right now with gas prices down. And there's no better way to like learn than by actually trying this.
For sure.
Oh, there we go. Just was checking to see if we had any questions, but that was Peter Pan just saying he's love that conversation. So, Leighton, thanks so much for joining us. And tomorrow we will interview Michael Dunworth from Wire, which is one of the largest crypto payment processing.
And we have a Wire integration on our website, so there's a little crossover there.
They've been bullish on DeFi since before it was trending to be bullish on it. I think they originally had this idea to go from like 0 to crypto in 20 seconds. I think that's the language they use. So it'd be really cool to talk to him about all of this. But Leighton, we'd love to have you back. Please, come on anytime you guys have cool and interesting stuff to talk about. And everyone stay safe. And I'll be tracking the US election results to see what happens here next.
Yeah.
So all right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.